Hello and welcome to Wargaming. We're here with our first ever bolt action painting tutorial. In this video we'll be showing you how to paint a Soviet infantryman from the Winter Soviet kit. This video will mainly focus on the miniatures wearing the Telegrika quilted jacket. However, I will be doing a tutorial in future to cover the greatcoat miniatures. Once the miniature has been assembled, it's time to prime it using leather brown. Now I use this in an airbrush, however you could also use the leather brown spray primer available from the Army Painter. The first part of the miniature that we'll be focusing on will be the quilted jacket, and for this we'll be starting off with a 50-50 mix of leather brown and desert yellow. Don't worry too much about getting it in the fold, as we can clean this up at a later stage. With the first layer complete, a highlight of desert yellow can be applied to the edges, notably the sleeves and the bottom of the jacket. Finally, a targeted wash of soft tone ink can be used to provide some more definition and to clear up any mistakes that you made earlier on. With the jacket completed, it's now time to move on to the trousers, and for this I'll be using Monster Brown. Now when you're adding this layer, be sure to leave the leather brown showing through the recesses. In order to improve definition, we'll be applying a strong tone ink wash across the trousers, mainly in the folds and the creases. For both the bedroll slung across the shoulder and also the fur on the hat, we'll be using a base coat of uniform grey. Once the base coat is dried, we'll be applying a strong tone ink wash across both the bedroll and the fur. Finally, a 1:1 ratio of uniform grey and ash grey should be applied to highlight both the fur and also the bedroll. We're now moving on to the webbing, and as we're going for a kind of a dark red leather, we're going to be basing with chaotic red. In order to darken the colour slightly, we'll now be applying a dark tone ink wash across the webbing. Finally, a highlight of dragon red should be applied to the edges of the pouches and also the belts. The boots will be black leather, and for this we'll need to base coat them with matte black. In order to give the boots a shiny, polished effect, we'll be applying a uniform grey highlight to the edges and the creases of the boots. The stock on the rifle can be painted with a base layer of fur brown. For the next step, I'll be using a red tone ink to wash the weapon stock. However, if you wanted to, you could use a soft tone ink instead. We will now be looking at painting the skin, and for this we'll be base coating with tanned flesh. The next step is to apply a highlight of Barbarian flesh. Now pay particular attention to the facial features and also the fingers and the kind of the knuckles as well. Finally, for the skin, we'll be applying a 50-50 mix of soft tone ink and red tone ink. Now, pay particular attention not to get it everywhere, don't just slop it on the miniature, and kind of target it in the crevices of the face and the fingers. We'll now be painting any metal sections on the rifle and also any kind of bayonets or anything that the soldier is carrying. And for this we'll be using gunmetal. The final step is to apply a dark tone ink wash across the metal areas. Now this will not only darken it up, but it also provide some better definition. Now when painting your own miniatures, you don't have to be completely strict on which colours you use, especially for the jacket and the trousers. During World War II, many dyes were used, and the uniforms came out in a myriad of different colours and shades. So you could always add a little bit of army green when you're painting the trousers, for example, and it'll really give kind of a bit more character and uniqueness to your force. If you enjoyed this tutorial or found it helpful, please let us know in the comments, and also be sure to subscribe to be kept up to date with any other painting tutorials that we do. As I mentioned, we'll probably be doing some more for Bolt Action, so if you're a fan of that, also let us know what other miniatures you would like to see me paint. And as always, thanks for watching and goodbye.